Would like to start. And just for people to be sure of being in the right place, we want to see who is supposed to be here so that we are sure we are in the right place. Doc, next. Dr. G?
Yes, I'm taking it's refreshing. It's refreshing.
Okay, all right. Trusting that we had a good restful day and ready to pick up and continue learning with us. Such a pleasure and a privilege. So in this room, we have the facilitators displayed there. And then for the schools, we have 10 schools. So kindly check and confirm that you are in the right place. Timbigwa, Kirasha, Thogoto, Gitobo, Kibii, Mihoko, Wangware, Miiri, Kiwanda, and Gatara. We also have our guests from South Africa. And then we also have a team from Thogoto, 5 in number. So these are the people who are supposed to be in this room learning together with us. So I would like to request Michael Macharia to lead us in a word of prayer. Michael Macharia, if you can hear me, please. Michael Macharia, kindly unmute yourself and lead us with a word of prayer.
Okay, good morning.
Morning.
Let us pray. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Lord, we come to you this morning, giving you thanks and praise. We thank you for protecting us throughout that short weekend which you had given us. We cannot take it for granted, O Lord. Lord, as we start this day, we ask you to be with us until the end of these 2 sessions. We ask you to give us perseverance and understanding of what we are being taught, so that in turn we can implement this to the pupils and students we are handling. Lord, I ask you to continue blessing our facilitators, bless even the participants, give them good health, so that we can all complete this work together. We ask this shortly through Christ our Lord, Jesus. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Michael, for committing us before the Lord. So we want to look at our journey since we started. The first 2 days, we looked at the core skills, what we call competencies. And we looked at how they are and how they can be taught in a classroom situation. And then on Saturday, before we left, we looked at how we can teach the various CTPS attributes. And the one that we dealt with was multiple perspectives, and we saw how we can teach it in a literacy and numeracy lessons. So like we had mentioned earlier, we will be dealing with each of these CTPS attributes and going deeper into them so that we can gain an understanding of what are they and how can we teach them in our sessions. So for today, we shall be looking at the second CTPS attribute, which is assessing evidence. So we'll look at how do we assess evidence in a classroom when you're teaching either numeracy or literacy. How do we assess evidence? And so I would like to invite Dr. Gioko to take us through the next session as we focus on assessing evidence. Over to you, Dr. G.
Thank you very much, everybody. Welcome to this session. Today, we'll be talking much about evidence and we'll be looking at how do you assess evidence in whatever we do. So to begin with, we know what is happening currently. There's a lot of information going around about corona. So we like to give you a short quiz about corona, and we'll expect you to take this quiz. And to take this quiz, I want to post the link in the classroom. Click the link in the class and take the short quiz about corona. So we see how well do you know about corona. So go to the chat room, you'll see the quiz there. Click on that link, and for 5 minutes, I want us to take that short quiz about corona. So there is a link in the chat. Click on the link, and we are going to take a short quiz about corona. Let's take 5 minutes for that quiz. If you're not able to link, tell us so that we can see how to help. Answer those questions on the quiz about corona.
I have also pasted on the WhatsApp.
Oh, yeah.
For those not able to access the chat.
So let's take the quiz and we see how much we know about corona. We have 2 minutes remaining. 'At least one person has responded. Thank you very much. Three people have responded, and you can see the performance. Five people have responded. Seven people. Let us see, we have 1 minute. Let's finish. And I can tell which questions are frequently missed. 7 people have responded. We have half a minute. Nine people have responded. 10 people have responded. And if you look at the screen, you can see our summary of how well we are doing. You can see our average, you can see the median is 24, you can see the range is between 14 and 28. And you can see the frequently missed questions is question 1 and question 14. Okay, so this was just an example to give you tasks which require evidence. And I'm sure you are answering based on what you know. So it is very critical that whatever we do, we use evidence. So in this session today, we'll be exploring aspects of gathering and assessing evidence. We'll participate in a lesson which will be enhancing assessing evidence, and we'll be able to appreciate the role of enhancing evidence. The success criteria is your participation in this particular activity, how you'll review what is being taught, and finally, the plan of activity, the kind of activities that we do, that will be your success criteria. So that is what we have today. So begin with, I'll give you a short quiz. What is the answer for this question? Type it in the chat. How did deaths per year from natural disaster change in the last century? You can guess, you can write your answer in the chat, A, B, or C. Type the answer in the chat. Is it A, B, or C? So I'm seeing many people have written A, then there's a B, B, and A. Okay, thank you very much. Let us try. A is incorrect. Let us try B. B is incorrect. So people have written A and B, they are both incorrect. The answer is C. Let us try the next question. How many years have women aged 30 years spent in school on average? And you are given a comparison of men's time. What's your answer in the chat? What's your answer in the chat? Okay, Joyce says A, Michael says B. Some more. Rachel, use the letter A, B, or C. Michael says C, Lucy says C. Okay, let's try. A, 7 years is correct. The correct answer is 7 years. It's not 5 years and it's not 3 years. Let us try another question. Question 3. How has the percentage of people living in extreme poverty in the world changed in the last 20 years? Give your response. A response in the chat. So Wilter says B. Okay. Edith says C. Michael A. Okay. So let us try. A. It's incorrect. B is incorrect. The answer is C. So you see these questions of evidence in sharing. So let's listen to this scientist who's sharing evidence on what happens.
First, an axis for health, life expectancy, from 25 years to 75 years. And down here, an axis for wealth, income per person, $400,000, $4,000, and $40,000. So down here is poor and sick, and up here is rich and healthy. Now, I'm going to show you the world 200 years ago, in 1810. Here come all the countries.
Dr. Maina.
Europe brown, Asia red,
Yes.
Africa
G.
south of Sahara blue, America's yellow.
Yes.
And the science
It can't show.
We can't see the video.
Oh, okay.
First, an axis for health, life expectancy, from 25 years to 75 years. And down here, an axis for wealth, income per person,
Can
400,
now show, but
4,000,
it's
and
not
40.
moving.
So down here
It's not.
and
It's not moving.
and up here.
Yeah, it's not moving.
Health. Now, I'm going to show you the world 200 years ago.
I can't even see it.
Here come all the countries. Europe brown, Asia red, Middle East green, Africa south of Sahara through the 1920s.
So I think I'm going to share it in
United States was in the
WhatsApp.
front. Japan was catching up. Because
Okay, I'll share it in WhatsApp and so that people can see. I'm wondering why it's not playing. It's playing here. Okay, so this video is a scientist who's showing evidence of all the claims on development. So it will be shared in the Google Classroom. We're going to upload it there. Then you can be able to view it in that particular classroom. So it will be shared later. Let's proceed. So you find that for all the activities that you are doing, sometimes evidence might be ignored by people because of one of the things they believe in. So if your belief in things is based on emotion, if you are told anything which is on the contrary to your belief system, then you will tend to ignore because you are just following what you believe in. The other challenge is people will not like anything on contrary to their belief. Sometimes people don't take evidence due to those reasons, whereby you don't want, something is on the contrary to your belief system. So you don't want to agree with it or you don't want to follow it because you think that it is against what you believe. So that could video. It's a situation, and I hope it is going to play. We observe this class and we see what is going on in terms of teaching students to assess evidence in the class. So I hope it is refreshing. And then I'll play it. Let's refresh.
All right, before we get started, who can remind me what we did yesterday? Right.
Not showing.
Yeah, it's streaming. It's streaming. It's going to show.
Trying to find
Oh.
evidence to support our claim. So today, we are going to use all of the things that we learned yesterday, plus a couple new things, okay? And the target we are working towards is I can identify evidence that supports a claim. I can identify evidence that supports a claim, okay? So now, not only are we looking at what's fact and what's opinion, okay? But whether authors are actually using good facts to help us believe them, whether or not their evidence makes sense, okay? All right, so before we start, we need to find out what some of these words mean and make sure we are all on the same page, okay? Ari, you want to start us off? Okay. All right, so these are our definitions and our words. So now we're going to talk about how we are going to use them. So I have two separate articles. Half of you are going to read one article. Half of you are going to read the other. Okay? You are both going to be looking for the same information in your different articles. And I'm going to start by showing you how to find that information and what you're going to do with it. And then I'm going to ask you to do the work. Okay? And then after we're done reading, then you will get to get up and move around and argue with each other. Okay? All right. So this is one of the articles that some of you will be looking at. Okay? So this article is from the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, or PETA, perspective. Has anybody heard of PETA? Okay, so, Abelardo, tell us a little bit about PETA while your classmates listen quietly and respectfully.
It's like, no, it's because it's just wonderful.
Okay. Ari? Okay, so Ari said that PETA is a group of hippies that care about animals more than human beings. Okay, so was Ari's statement fact or opinion? Okay, so by reading this article, we are going to learn more about PETA. And we're going to talk more about those two different opinions that Laura and Ari already have. Okay? All right. So this article and the other one are both zoos. Okay? So these articles are about whether or not zoos are bad for animals. Okay? All right. So we might already have some opinions on this. We might not. Our purpose today is to use the information from the texts we read, because that's our learning target. Okay? All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is read, and I'm probably just going to read a couple sentences. The People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, or PETA, perspective, natural habitats. Okay? I'm going to stop right there. My first job here is to underline evidence. Okay? I'm underlining evidence, details that support this author's claim. Okay? What is my author's claim here, Alexandra? What does PETA think about zoos? Exactly, zoos are bad. Okay, so I'm going to find evidence that supports that claim. Okay? So PETA thinks that warehousing animals does not save them from extinction. That supports their claim, right? Okay. Let's see, people should boycott zoos and focus on protecting natural habitats. That's all I've read so far, so that's all the evidence that I have. Okay? Pretty easy so far. Not making any decisions about this evidence yet. So that's your first step. Your next job is on this paper. Exciting. All right, so let me explain this, and then we'll see if you still have questions. Okay? On one side I have pro, on the other side I have con. Okay? My con, in this case, is what's bad about zoos. And then my pro would be what's good about zoos. And then I also, on the other side, have facts and opinions. Okay? So I have to make a couple decisions. And the first one's going to be really easy. The first decision I have to make is whether this evidence tells us what's good about zoos or what's bad about zoos. What's bad about zoos? This whole article is going to be what's bad about zoos. So you don't even have to make that decision, because I already made it. Okay? All right, the next decision that I have to make is whether my evidence is fact or opinion. So let's take a look at the first thing that I found. The warehousing of animals does not save them from extinction. Is that a fact or an opinion? Why do you think that that's an opinion? Valeria.
Okay, so we have been able to watch that short video. What I want us to think about is answer that question in the chat. Let's answer that question in the chat. I think everybody should be made, somebody is muting me. The question is, what did you like about this teacher's approach and the way she taught her students how to assess evidence? Let's type in the chat. And also make everybody an attendee, because it, like this, some people are muting me.
Okay, I've done that. I noticed. I've changed all of them to attendees.
What did you like about this teacher's approach and the way she taught her students how to assess evidence? So Magotha says she explained to the learners how to get evidence well and clearly. Thank you, Magotha. Lynette says teachers guided the learners to look for evidence. Learners participated. Rachel is saying she engaged her learners during the lesson. Michael said use the chat for demonstration. Thank you, Michael. Let's get more.
Dr. G,
Yes.
there are some in the WhatsApp.
Yes.
Somebody called Edith Amos says learner-centered fund, relevant to the learners. And then Frida Murungi says Chifule involved the learners.
Thank you, Doc. Then we have Lois N says the teacher is guiding learners to assess evidence by asking them oral questions. Wilter says she explains so well in that students are able to assess what they know. And Joyce K says involving learners in the activity.
Matthew says her approach was effective. She involved the learners. Esther Wapoi says learner-centered.
Okay. So you can see that we can go to a colleague's class. We can be able to observe what is working. And based on that evidence, we can go and apply it in our class because it is evidence-based. We have observed how it is working, and then we can go and work in our class. So there are many opportunities for us to learn from our colleagues on what we call evidence-based practice. You go see something, see how it works, and then you come and you try it in your class. That is a learning by itself. So I'd like to ask you now to think further and think, is there anything that you would like to use in your own teaching? We have now observed a teacher, we have visited a teacher, we have observed a teacher. Is there anything you are seeing there when you go to your class you are going to use? Write it in the chat. Something you like to borrow from what you have just seen. Michael says use of digital devices. Thank you, Michael. Magdalene talks of use of technology in teaching and learning. Thank you, Magdalene.
And Frida Murungi says probing learners into coming up with the evidence.
Thank you, Frida. John Kay talks of clear illustrations and technology use. Thank you, John. Nancy N talks about, I will guide my learners well to get evidence. So we have one more and we proceed. We actually have many. Joyce K talks of use of digital devices to make learning interesting. And Michael talks about give learners time to respond to questions. Wilter says, I will use the approach since the learners have some knowledge, prior knowledge. So there's a lot coming through the chat. So we are going to proceed. I want us to watch another video. And this is teaching how to assess evidence. It's about teaching students how to assess evidence in a small game, which they are going to be told. I hope it's going to play.
Imagine you are on a game show. The game show host shows you 3 doors. Behind one of the doors is the star prize, a car. Behind the other 2 doors are booby prizes, 2 goats. You have no way of knowing which door conceals which item, and whichever door you pick, you'll receive the prize behind it. You are asked to pick a door. But before it is opened, the game show host opens one of the other 2 doors. Now the host knows where the car is, and he always opens a door to reveal a goat. You are then asked whether you'd like to swap your chosen door for the one remaining closed door. The question is, should you swap? Should you stick with your original choice? Or does it make no difference what you do? Which would give you the greatest chance of winning the car? I'll give you 10 seconds to think about it. So, what do you think? Now, most people will say that it makes no difference whether you swap or not. Behind one closed door is a goat, and behind the other closed door is the car. Therefore, the chances of choosing the car are 50-50, so it makes no difference whether you swap or not. Now, this sounds perfectly sensible. However, it's not correct. The Monty Hall problem is a puzzle about probability. The problem is simple to understand, but the answer is counterintuitive. So what should you do? The answer is you should always swap, as this gives twice the chance of winning the car. Why? Well, there are many different ways to explain why, but perhaps the easiest is to examine what your chances of winning the car are for the two strategies, swapping and not swapping. Let's start by looking at what happens if you choose not to swap. At the start of the game, you are asked to pick a door. Since there are 3 doors and only one hides the car, the probability of you picking the car is 1 in 3, or about 33%. And since there are 2 goats, the probability of you picking a goat is 2 in 3, or about 66%. Now, if you don't swap your door, it doesn't matter which other goat door the host opens, because you are sticking with your first choice. And the chance that you've already picked the car is 33%. And the chance that you've already picked a goat is 66%. So by not swapping, you have a 33% chance of winning the car and a 66% chance of winning a goat. Now, let's look at the consequences of swapping. Let's consider what happens if, by luck, you pick the car first time, a 33% chance. It's obvious that if you pick the car on your first go and then swap, you are going to end up with a goat. So if you swap, you're going to win a goat at least 33% of the time. What about if you pick a goat first time? Well, here is the crux of the problem. This time, there is only one goat the host can reveal. The host opens the only other goat door, and then you swap to the remaining closed door, the car. In fact, every time you pick a goat door first time and then swap, you will win the car. And the chances of you picking a goat first time are 66%. So by swapping, you have a 33% chance of winning a goat by picking the car first time, and a 66% chance of winning the car by picking a goat first time. So, you should always swap to the remaining door. Why? Because if you do, you'll have a 66% chance of winning the car, and only a 33% chance if you don't. And that is double the chance. I hope this explanation makes sense and that you can see the truth behind the Monty Hall problem. The only remaining question is, do you actually want to win a car? Or would you rather win a goat?
So if you listened to this problem, you could hear that the person talked about why several times. And the reason is because the person was giving evidence. So whatever claim somebody makes, it is important to give evidence. So if you want our students to become better critical thinkers and problem solving, so one of the critical thing is providing effective feedback. So we're going to have a small exercise, and I'd like you to determine whether the kind of feedback we are having here, is it effective, is it ineffective, or is it most effective? And I'll give you only 1 minute to get the answer. So within that 1 minute, you should respond to the question. So I'll give you a feedback statement, and then you decide, is it effective, is it ineffective, or is it most effective? You have a minute to answer that. So I have 3 responses. Magdalene says most effective. Magothe says effective. Lucy says effective. Rachel says effective. So let us see for Magothe. Magothe said most effective. That is correct. So for those who said effective, it is incorrect, because this one, it talks about the child is being told to solve this problem. Your aim should be to create a table with 2 sides, listing what you know and what you still need to find out. Hence, read the question again, identify information that is listed in the problem, find out what is the information you are seeking. There is a narrative, a communication between the teacher and the learner, and the teacher is focusing on the challenge and giving advice on what to do so that the challenge can be overcome. So for this one, it's most effective. Let's listen to the next one. Okay, so most people are saying ineffective, apart from Lois and Jane are saying effective, but most people are saying ineffective. And this is what I've been hearing my teachers telling me when I was in primary, that they can see I'm working hard. So let us check. So I'll start with the effective from John Lois. Let us see. It is incorrect. And then majority have said ineffective. This is ineffective. This is not a feedback. This is called a praise. And a praise is like flowers. They have time when they will wilt, because you are just praising a child. There is no indicator of what is this that the child is doing. What is hardworking? Nothing. You're just hardworking. What does it indicate? He's not communicating. So these are praises, and praises are not long lasting. Okay, let's do the last one. The method to check for evidence is to read what is written in the passage. So people are saying effective. Most people are saying effective, although Michael W is saying ineffective, and Lois is saying most effective. So let's begin with most effective. That is incorrect. And we look at ineffective. That is not correct. So the answer for this is effective. So there is a semblance of some communication because it is guiding. It is feed forward, because whatever you are telling the learner here, they will do something about it. So the method to check for evidence is to read what is written in the passage. So it means you have observed that I'm not able to check for evidence, and you're giving guidance on how I should check for evidence. So this is correct. So thank you for taking this quiz. I was doing a short quiz to see our understanding on feedback. You find that feedback is very, very critical because feedback facilitates what is supposed to do. So there are some other things you can do when you are giving feedback. One includes providing feedback in manageable units. Do not make it too simple, but give it in small chunks so that the learners, depending on their age, the information overload is not taken care of, so that they have small chunks of information which they can act on and get better. So one way is providing feedback in manageable units. Another one is to ensure that the feedback is not so detailed and specific that there is no thinking. The feedback should be like an anchor, which now invites the learner to engage with it and make more meaning. So if you do everything to the learner, then they will not be able to take up that new learning. They'll just be doing they'll just be following your instruction on what you said, but they'll not now develop that skill which you want. So it should be in a way not so detailed, but it is allowing them to think and also do something on themselves. The other thing is immediate feedback is effective. And especially when the learner is doing something for the first time, it's very important you give immediate feedback. But again, the immediacy of the feedback depends on the nature of the feedback. So as a teacher, you should know when to give, because sometimes delayed feedback is effective when a certain degree of mastery has been acquired. So when you are beginning, you give immediate feedback, but when you see that they have developed some skill, you now wait for them to make some mistakes because you want them to develop further. So you delay the feedback, and that allows them to transfer what they have learned into a new context. And finally, the type of feedback that you give determines how effective the feedback is. So how you structure your feedback the kind of questions you will be asking the learner. Like you have been seeing in our WhatsApp chat, we have been asking, what was the problem? Can you take a screenshot? Did you try this? Because that kind of feedback will now determine on how effective you can provide feedback. So because feedback is very critical in assessing evidence, we are going to be guided on how to give feedback using a method called PIPS. And then I'd like you to listen, and then you'll use that method to give me feedback on the session I've just presented. And you'll also use the same method to provide feedback to the lesson you are going to attend. We'll attend a lesson, and then we'll also give feedback to the teachers on that particular method. So let's listen to this method. It's called PIPS, PIPS.
And welcome to Positively Mad's Positive Teaching Tips. In this session, we'll look at a way of providing positive feedback called the PIPS method or the PIPS model. We all know what it feels like getting feedback that begins with something positive but then ends with something negative. Getting feedback like this makes some students feel disheartened. They forget the positive and stay focused only on the negative. Now, a more constructive feedback approach when marking or providing assessment is called the PIPS method. It has 4 steps. Step 1, find something specific that the student has done right and then praise it. Praise something specific. Step 2, suggest ways to improve. Provide practical steps that the student can apply to improve that piece of work rather than criticize the errors and the faults. Step 3, provide a positive overall praise statement. In other words, praise the piece in its entirety. Step 4, supply an uplifting comment. Write a comment that is specifically designed to make the student feel good about his or her efforts. Another good piece of advice is whenever you write something positive about a student, put his or her name afterwards. If you write something negative, then don't put a student's name. You don't want the student to associate his or her name with something that is negative. So here are the 4 steps again. Step 1, praise something specific. Step 2, suggest ways to improve. Step 3, provide a statement of overall praise. Step 4, supply an uplifting comment. And there we have it, a simple way of making feedback more positive.
So we have heard about giving feedback. So far you have attended 50 minutes of my session. I would like you to give me feedback on the session since the time I started. Let's go to the chat and give me a feedback about the session using a PIPS approach. Give feedback on the session. Let's do it fast. We have only 2 minutes. Two minutes. You are audible enough, Michael. That is just part of the PIPS. I want a full PIPS. Thank you, Michael. Florence says good and clear presentation. Florence, I want a good full PIPS. Use the PIPS, the whole thing. Very clear instruction. Alice Njuguna again, thank you, but use a full PIPS. The lesson was good, Magdalene. Let us use the PEEP. Praise something specific, improve, suggest ways to improve something, positive overall praise, and supplying an uplifting comment. Edith has tried. She says, very good presentation. Check on your video. Some have hitches. Well presented, it's gonna be better. Yes, something like that is communicating to the person. Thank you, Edith. Let's see another response. So Edith has given almost a pips. She says, very good presentation. Check on your videos. Some have features, well presented, it's gonna be better. Lynette says, good work on giving feedback, more on videos, you can do it, Maina. Thank you, Wilter. Michael says, very well presented, work on some of the videos. All in all, it was well presented despite technical hitches. Thank you, Michael. Rachel says, good illustration using video club. Clarification well made. Need to give your students time to respond. A good lesson though. Thank you, Rachel. Michael, you are audible enough. Improve the video. Very good presentation. Well done, Maina. Thank you, Michael. Masi Maura, it was an exciting lesson since the presentation was well conducted. Tabitha, you are audible. Dr. Maina, your questioning method is good. Improve on your video broadcast. It's good class general, level illustration and class. Okay, anything on WhatsApp, Daktari? So we are improving the way we give. Okay, then we have Magothe who's saying the video is audible, improve on the video, positive, good class presentation support. We are improving in all. Thank you very much. So we are going to go to a class, but before we go to the class, I can see the teachers on the door. I want you to reflect. What are the 3 things that you learned? 3 things that you learned. Florence is saying, check on your speed, you are so fast. Thank you, Florence. I can see the teachers are waiting on the door. So we're about to go to class to observe another lesson where we will be participating. We want 3 things that you have learned. I mute everybody.
Dr. Maina, you are muted.
These are people coming to mute me. I don't know why. Enos, you are not keeping the window or the door properly. So let me try to upload the PowerPoint, Esther, so that you can move the class. But don't forget there is one video which will give you a problem. So I'm uploading the lesson, which is M2, M3, M3, S2, M3, S1. Okay. Please share in chat 3 things that you have learned while the teachers are coming. Giving time for evidence and having learned about PIPs. Thank you very much, Magode. Louis says on assessing evidence, giving feedback using PIPs method. Thank you very much, Louis. Rachel says ways in which one can provide effective feedback. Thank you very much, Louis. So Esther, it's uploading, then you'll take control.
Okay.
Then once the video reaches, Actually, it is the second video. I'll have to play from my side so that they listen to the video.
Okay, so I had prepared to play it on my side, but it's okay.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay, Enos. Then you can play. That's okay. Just take over. Okay. So I'm up. It's taking time to upload Microsoft Teams. So Wilter says PIPS is very important. Michael says PIPS method approach giving feedback, giving effective feedback. Francis K says evaluating evidence is very important. PIPS is a very effective method of providing feedback. And today we'll be practicing PIP. Even in the afternoon when we observe our colleagues' classes, we'll be giving PIP method. Edith says praising something specific, giving time to give feedback. My comments will always be uplifting. Thank you, Edith. So it is taking some time to upload, but the teachers are ready. Massimo Aura says 3 things I have learned. 1, giving feedback is important. 2, I need to praise my learners. 3, I need to supply uplifting comments. Thank you. Orenos, you can share your screen and continue. It's taking time. Just share your screen and continue. And Esther, yeah.
Okay. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if our participants. Yeah, we can see it, Enos, yeah.
Okay. Esther, have you taken control?
Not yet. I'm trying to. Not yet.
So you can start.
Okay, so good morning, children.
Good morning.
Welcome to our literacy lesson today. I hope you had a good weekend. And so we want to continue our learning from where we stopped last week. So our strand today will be on listening and speaking. And our sub-strand will be on storytelling. How many like storytelling? Can I see by show of hand? You can raise your hand. How many like storytelling? Yes. I can see Jay Kimes has raised her hand. Mina and Patriwa, thank you very much. I know we all love storytelling. And so by the end of this lesson, we are going to listen to a story that will be projected on our blackboard. I would request that you listen very carefully and then you will retell the story as it is. So that will be our learning outcome for today. So sit back and listen very keenly. The story will be projected on the board. Enos?
Are you able to see it?
You are not on the presentation mode, Enos.
Okay.
Go to the next slide and then you play.
Are you seeing it?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Share the screen.
Oh, the screen is not shared. Okay.
So children, just wait a minute as we project the story on the board so that you are able to watch comfortably.
Is it visible now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So there goes our story.
Esther, can you hear?
No, I can't hear it.
And also your voice, your sound.
You can't hear it?
Yeah, your
Yeah,
sound.
we can see but cannot hear.
Let me adjust that. Okay. Just a moment.
Let me play from my side and also while you are doing that.
Okay.
How zebras got their stripes. A Ugandan folktale retold by Ned Jensen.
Are you able to see
Illustrated by
it?
Signy.
No, we can hear but not see it. So children, our story is on how the zebras got their stripes. A very interesting story.
Yeah, now we can see.
How zebras got their stripes. A Ugandan folktale retold by Ned Jensen. Illustrated by Signy Norden. Long, long ago, there were no zebras, but there were a lot of donkeys. The donkeys worked hard each and every day. They had no time to play or to relax. It was just work, work, work. The donkeys carried heavy bundles. They carried the bundles for miles, but they never felt appreciated for the work they did. One day, two donkeys got fed up. They decided they did not want to work all the time. Instead, they wanted to graze in green fields. They wanted to drink from clear streams. And they wanted to lie on soft grass. The donkeys went to see a wise old man. They told him their problem. The wise old man thought and thought. He agreed that they worked too hard, and he wanted to help the donkeys. Then suddenly, the wise old man jumped up. "I have an idea," he said. "What is your idea?" asked the donkeys. "I am going to paint you," said the man. "I will paint you, and no one will know you are donkeys." The wise old man went off to find some paint, and he returned in just a matter of minutes. He had 2 pots of paint. One pot was filled with white paint, and the other was filled with black paint. The old man began to paint the donkeys. First, he painted them white, and then he painted black stripes over the white paint. When he was finished, the donkeys did not look at all like donkeys. You no longer look like donkeys, the wise old man said. Everyone will be fooled. I will call you something else. I will call you zebras. The zebras went to a field to graze. No one bothered them, and they did not have to work. Instead, they lay in the grass and slept. Soon other donkeys saw the zebras. They asked the zebras where they came from. When the zebras told the donkeys their secret, the donkeys all rushed to see the wise old man. Make us into zebras too, they pleaded. So the wise old man painted more donkeys. As he did, more and more donkeys came. The old man could not paint fast enough. Soon the donkeys became impatient. They began to kick and stir about, and they knocked over the paint pots. There was no more paint. The painted donkeys ran off to become zebras. The unpainted donkeys, because of their impatience, had to return to work. This is both.
Enos, have you taken over?
The paint pots. There was no more paint. The painted donkeys ran off to become zebras. The unpainted donkeys, because of their impatience, had to return to work. This is why both.
It doesn't go beyond that.
Okay, continue then.
Okay. So children, have you listened to our story? Children, have you listened to our story?
Yes. Yes, teacher.
Is it interesting?
Very interesting.
Is it, do you love the story? Did you like it?
Yes.
Thank you very much. So Enos, you're sharing the screen?
Yeah.
Doctor, I think Dr. Maina is sharing the screen, but let me share.
Enos, share so that you control, eh?
Okay.
Okay. So from that story, we learn a number of things, and I know you have taken note of them. Okay. So now, having listened to the story, I would like you to write down 3 questions you would ask your classmates to check if they understood the story. Kindly put the 3 sets of questions on the chat or on WhatsApp so that we can be able to see them. Let's take 2 minutes for that. 3 questions. I am waiting for your questions, children. Okay. Maina asks, what made the other zebras to run away? And the other one is, why did the zebra want to be colored? Then somebody is also asking, who painted the donkeys? Then Veronica is asking, which two animals are mentioned in the story? And then Nancy asks, what was the story about? Very good. Francis also says, why did the two defiant donkeys make a visit to the wise man? Then we have Magdalene saying, how many animals are mentioned? That is a similar one. Then the other question is, where did the donkeys go? What did the old man do? And why were the donkeys not painted? Thank you very much, and very good for those questions.
WhatsApp.
Anything on WhatsApp? Yes.
Which colors did the old man use? Why did the zebras become impatient? What made the donkeys impatient? What did the zebras come about? And how did the old man help the donkeys? What the donkeys' problems?
Wow.
I mean, what was
those
the donkeys' problems?
Thank you. Very good questions there. And I would like us to give you flowers. Let's give them flowers, all those questions, flowers, because of the wonderful questions that they have set for us. So would like to move to the next activity. And we are going now to have to retell, Enos, move. We are going to retell the story. Remember, we said that we would listen and retell the story from what we have listened from. But before that, I would like us to respond to these questions on the chart. Where did the zebras come from? Okay, where did the zebras come from? And when you say where they come from, I would also like you to support that with, why do you say so? Okay, so let's first answer the first question. Where did the zebras come from? And why do you say so? Let's go on the chat and WhatsApp and give our responses. Thank you, Maina says, from the old man because he painted them. Thank you. Somebody else?
Oh.
Veronica says they were painted from the donkeys. Thank you, Veronica. Somebody else? Tabitha says from the painted donkeys. Wow, I can see them streaming in. Magoda says the zebras were painted from donkeys by the old man. And then we also have Michael Avero saying from the people in village because they worked for them. And then we also have another one. The zebras came from painted donkeys. That is from Lois Mudhoni. Thank you very much for all those responses. So I would like us now to go to the next question. Yes. What would have happened if the donkeys remained patient? What do you think would have happened if the donkeys remained patient? Let's have some responses on WhatsApp. And why do you say so? You give your view on what would have happened if the donkey remained patient, and then you support your response. Let's go.
Esther Boy says, if the donkeys were patient, they could have been painted.
Okay. Mina says they will all be zebras because the paint would not have spilled. Excellent. Then we have Veronica saying they would have been painted and changed into zebras. Very good, Veronica. Then we have Florence saying there would be no donkeys. And then Tabitha says they would all have been painted since the old man was willing to paint them. The other one is they would have been changed to zebra. So I can see that all of us are agreeing that the donkeys would have all been painted because the old man was more than willing. Thank you very much for all those responses on the chat and WhatsApp. So I'd like us to go to the next activity, and here I would like us to retell the story in 1 minute. So can I see by show of hand who wants to go first? By show of hand, who wants to go first to retell the story? Let me see. First come. I will take the first few hands because we don't have a lot of time. Who wants to go first, children, to retell the story? Yes?
But your hand is up.
Okay. Your minute starts now, Matthew, if you are ready. I can see Patria's hand is up. Kindly take a minute to retell the story. Yes, please. Unmute yourself. Patria, unmute yourself. The minute is moving. Yes. Okay, Jay Kimes, kindly take the stage.
Enos, reset the watch.
Yeah, we have Jay Kimes ready to retell the story as the other children also get ready. I want to see many, many, many hands. So Jay Kimes, let's go. Unmute yourself.
Long time ago, there were very many donkeys. And those donkeys, they were very tired of working for the villagers, and they needed a solution so that they may rest from the work. And in the process of searching on what to do, they went to visit a wise man, and this wise man sat and thought on what to do concerning those. An idea came about where he came with the two types of paint, the white paint and the black paint. He painted them white, and then he came up with the black stripe. And then the other donkeys were amused to see them. These other donkeys were white and black, and the old white man called them zebras. So these others went to look for the wise man, and the wise man kept painting them again and again. And sometimes later, the other donkeys came and they were very impatient. They started kicking and starting about and poured the paint, and the wise man did not have any paint anymore. So that's why today we have the donkeys and the zebras as we are talking. And
thank you very much, Jay Kimes, for retelling the story. I'll take one more. I can see
Nancy Moshiri's hand up.
Okay, Nancy Moshiri. Nancy Moshiri, if you can hear me, unmute yourself and retell the story. You have 1 minute.
Yes, long time ago, there were many donkeys and there were no zebras. And the donkeys did a lot of work and they were really getting tired and nobody was appreciating them. And so So they decided to look for a solution, and they came across a wise man. And when they told the wise man their problem, the wise man thought and thought and came up with a solution. He decided to look for two types of paint, the black and the white, and he painted the zebras white, and then he painted the black. They became they painted the donkeys, and they became zebras. And then the other donkeys, the zebras could not now work like the donkeys, and so other donkeys wanted to become zebras, and they went to the wise man for painting. Several donkeys were painted, and they kept on going to the old man. The last lot of the donkeys became impatient, and in the process of playing around, they broke the pot, and the paint got distilled. And so the old man could not paint the donkeys again. And that is why now we have the zebras and the donkeys. Yeah, that is the end of the
Thank
story.
you. Thank you very, very, very much. So can we give them flowers? All of us, we give them flowers. Give them flowers. Thank you very much. So for those who have not been able to retell the story, you can input in your chat. You can write the story in your chat so that we all are able to retell the story in our own words. So you find that listening and speaking are very important skills, and we have looked at how the zebra got there. I mean, the donkeys got striped and they became zebras. So listening is very important because it helps us learn from things and why the things happen the way they do. Therefore, we have learned that it is important when we say something, we support it with more information. Hence, the reason why we are being asked questions and you give your reason. What is the reason behind your assertion? So because of time, I would like to give you time to reflect through our lesson. What have we learned? Share one thing that you liked about our lesson today, right? Kindly put that on chat. What did you like about our lesson today? Okay. As the lesson comes to a closure. So put in one thing you liked about our lesson today on chat. I'm waiting to see. Then next, Enos. When you get home, make sure you tell the story to your parents, your siblings, everyone who is at home. Tell the story to them, and also ask them to tell you a story, which you will come and share with us next time. So I can see people are inputting what they have liked. Thank you very much for your feedback. And don't forget to tell the story and also ask the people at home to share a story with you, and you'll come and narrate it to us next time. Until our next lesson, I say goodbye.
Thank you very much, Esther. Now we like feedback. Yeah. How was the lesson? Can we use a PIPS method to give the teacher feedback? Let's use a PIPS method. And also let me share my screen. Let's use a PIPS method to share feedback. We give this teacher feedback. Let's use a PIPS method. We have only 2 minutes. What did you like about this lesson? It was a reading lesson, and Kathy has given some feedback in the chat there. She says that I loved your story and I like the way you use it for different lessons. for comprehension, for listening skill, and questioning for recall. Thank you. So can we have somebody say peep? Masi Maura says the teacher was audible. It is good to be patient. She involved the learner. Rachel says bye. Louise says a very interesting story. Learner listened keenly and wanted to know what they were on. The picture of the animal were captivating. We are now giving feedback to the teachers as teachers. So we are now back to be as teachers, and we are giving feedback to the teachers using the PIPs. Let's give the teachers who presented the lesson, the listening lesson. Okay, Lynette says, I have learned that learning is good to give feedback like story. It was a child-centered. Michael says, audible enough, using teaching learning aids, well presented. Thank you, teacher. Thank you, Michael. Veronica says the teacher was lively. Florence says, good story. Rachel says, a wonderful lesson, captured learners' attention, give time for all learners to participate, engage even the slow learners. Very interesting indeed. Tabitha says the story was interesting, the connectivity was okay, the presentation was awesome. So thank you for the feedback about the lesson. So what I like you to think about now is, what are you taking? What are you taking for literacy and numeracy? What is it that you're going to adapt? What is it that you're going to adapt from this session? Remember, we say we are building a portfolio which will inform our project once this course is finished. And in the portfolio, we said you can add pedagogical ideas, you can add core enhancement strategies, you can add learning objects you have seen, like the video we have used in Zebra, you can add lesson plan. So we'd like you to populate your lesson. You can also add your reflections. So populate the things you are taking away from this session as we are coming to an end. What is it that you are taking away from this particular session? So we are going to go for an hour's break, and we will ask you to design a lesson which you are going to present after the session. We still have some lessons for yesterday, like Wilta wants to present hers and Henry. So we'll see how we'll do that. They will present a full lesson, they'll model, will be the students, will be learning, and then we'll give them feedback. So please make sure you design your lesson as we go for break and use all these aspects of the lesson planning. Thank you very much, Enos. Thank you very much, Esther. Thank you very much, Dr. Patricia, and all those who have attended this session. We are now coming to an end, and I'll ask our observers from South Africa, somebody from South Africa, to give comments as we close. I saw Kathy, you are there. Any visitor who can give us feedback?
Good morning.
Yes,
I don't know if anyone else is up here from South Africa. They all seem to still be in bed on this cold winter's morning. But thank you. I really loved your story. And I think it's really clever the way you always, at the end of every session, give an example of the type of lesson that teachers can use in the classroom using the skill they've just learned with you, with the critical thinking and problem solving. I really like the way it's simple, and the fact that you're using one resource to do more than one thing. So it's not like you're having to develop a whole lot of resources to cover a variety of skills and assessment standards. You're using one resource that you've actually pulled a whole lot of things out. So I really enjoyed it. I thought the lesson started at 7:30 our time, but I see it started at 7. So I will be on time tomorrow morning. And thank you very much for all that you do and for allowing me to be part of it. Fantastic.
Thank you very much, Kathy. And we can now put our videos on and say bye-bye as we plan our lesson. Thank you very much, everybody, and see you. Oh, Huntington, you are there. I had not seen you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. See you in an